Uhlmann reporting for TTNHD Production Live, here with director-producer Eric Bross. Tell me about CUBB FILMS.
CUBB FILMS is a production company. It's my production company that I started probably about maybe 12 years ago when I was making my second movie, Restaurant. And I wanted to have a name for my production company, and CUBB FILMS Incorporated sounded like a good name. And that's basically because my nickname growing up was Cub.
Why did you start the company?
Mainly because I wanted to put a name to the company that was producing the projects that I was putting together. You know, I mean, I think it's always good to kind of brand yourself, and that's one way to do it.
How has production been going so far for CUBB FILMS?
Pretty good. I mean, you know, I mean, honestly, CUBB FILMS has been involved in, obviously, it was the production company that produced the first two movies, Ten Benny and Restaurant. And beyond that, it's just, you know, I've been mostly working on projects that I've been hired on for either features or TV. And now CUBB FILMS is going to be more active because I'm developing a bunch of different projects. So it's gotten much busier for CUBB FILMS.
What projects do you currently have in development?
Right now, I am developing an action thriller, kind of a somewhat futuristic action thriller that takes place here on Earth. And that was actually written by the story, original idea was by my brothers and I. I have two brothers. I have 5 brothers and sisters, but my two brothers and I wrote this together. And I have a writer, friend of mine, Matt Lazarus, who's currently writing the script, and that's being developed for the studios. Apart from which, also I have another project that I wrote with my writing partner, Tom Cudworth, called America's Favorite, which is in development right now, and that's an independent film, more of a sort of a kind of a political thriller. And I have another thing that's kind of a quirky, romantic dramedy called Tennessee Waltz, and there's a few other things in the hopper that's percolating, but you know, those are the 3 main ones.
When did you know you wanted to be a director, producer, writer?
Well, I started making movies when I was 14 years old, and I was doing a lot throughout junior high and high school. And I think the thing was, when I finally got to my last, I made a movie. I made a 45-minute version of Dickens' A Christmas Carol in Super 8 with all my brothers and sisters. So I realized that, you know, I won an award for that, and I knew that's what I wanted to do. And I got into college, and that was my main focus the whole time, writing and directing and producing. And then I got out of college, and I met my writing partner at a restaurant, and we started writing our first screenplay together. And I knew I was going to make my first movie. It took me 5 years to get my first movie made, but I knew that's what I wanted to do.
What advice would you give to someone coming up who wanted to do what you're doing?
My advice would be, you know, back in my day, it wasn't as cheap to make a feature film. It's much cheaper now. The technology is available. You can probably do what I did. I got my first film, you know, cut and done, everything ready for film festival, and it cost about $300,000. You know, and shot in Super 16. That was back in 1994, 95. So, you know, we're talking, I don't know how many years later, you know, 10, 15 years later. And the idea is now you don't have to shoot film. It's a lot cheaper on every level. The production is still, you know, you can't skimp on people you need to work with you. You know, you can't skimp on, but you can certainly, and I was very ambitious, and I made it was a big production on many levels, and there were a lot of characters, and you know, it involved a lot of people, and we did it very, very cheap for that time. Now you can do things a lot cheaper, so there's no excuse not to do it because the technology's there. It's much less expensive to get a movie made now. So my advice is get the equipment, get together with your friends, go out and make it. Don't let it stop you, and scale things down if you have to. It's just about good story and good storytelling. Yeah.
Where can we check you out online?
I don't really have a website yet, but that's CUBB FILMS. Not yet, but I will. I'm working on it now. CUBBFilms.com and probably an Eric Ross website. There's a website called Active Submissions, which you can request my reel from, but that's a little more. I don't know how. You just have to look them up and look me up, I guess, or call them. But I am working on a website now, so you can find me there. But you can always go online and look up my movies and on IMDb, and you can find me there.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Eric, and best of luck with your upcoming projects.
Well, thank you so much, Katie. It's been a pleasure. Right.
I'm Katie Uhlmann reporting for TTN HD Production Live.